It is rare to see a trade that both teams lost and both teams won. But that's exactly what we get to see with Carson Wentz's trade this week. And we've had our fun with the Eagles. Back when Jalen Hurts was inserted into the starting lineup, we called him a circus. We have a video about it where we said that our over-under on people getting fired between Wentz, Hurts, Roseman, and Peterson was at 2.5, and we're currently at 2. We stated the only team crazy enough to go after Carson Wentz on his current contract was the Colts. And that's where he is. But to understand this trade fully, you have to understand Carson Wentz. There are people that say he's broken, and that is not the case. Carson Wentz has been the same guy since he came out of North Dakota State. And what I mean by this is that if you go back and listen to the game where Seattle played Philadelphia in the playoffs, you hear Josh McCown, who had talked to an announcer, and the announcer's repeating the story of how he had been so diligent and such a mentor to Carson Wentz on trying to get him to check down because Carson Wentz refused to check down. He would always hold the ball, look down the field, try and make the big play, and he wouldn't just accept the check down is the best option on the play and move on to the next. And when that's a trait of your quarterback, it's all or nothing. It's good or bad. There isn't staying on schedule, and they're consistently looking towards the same region of the field unless you force them out of it. And by looking at the same region of the field all the time, you become vanilla, you become easy to cover. And that's why losing Frank Wright hurt Carson Wentz so badly. In his offense, there are a number of clear outs for running backs, slips to tight ends, isolations on unders, things that make your one read wide open and quick. So it takes away the opportunity for every play to be staring down the field and trying to create because it's an easy just take this, just take that, and it keeps the balance in the offense. When Reich left, that bled away from the Philadelphia offense and put Carson in a position where he was his own worst enemy. The offensive line declined, the weapons declined, and Carson was still staring down the field trying to make a big play. Became less and less efficient, and Carson Wentz got his confidence rattled. Part of it was because of the knee, part of it was because of stacking failures, but by the time Carson Wentz was benched this year, he was guiding his deep ball. He was trying to aim passes. He had picked up so many bad habits along the way because of the failures stacking on top of each other, because of all the hits he was taking. It was his fault in many circumstances, but still, when you put failures on top of failures on top of failures, bad things pop out of your quarterback's traits. But at the same time, if you revert that and you start putting him back into offense that forces him to take the early throws, forces him to take the early checkdowns, and doesn't give him as much options to choose, then you have a quarterback who's back in a balanced offense. And now the success is stacked, and now the confidence comes back, and all the traits can play at the level that the traits are capable of playing at. Wentz is going to be fixed this year. By Frank Wright, he would have been fixed by Sirianni as well, because the system fixes him. The confidence comes from the success of the system, and as almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, it makes all those negative traits that are popping out due to bad confidence and due to failures go away. If you don't believe that's the truth, look at 2019 Baker and 2020 Baker and 2018 Baker. Completely different player because of confidence, because of the system. Same thing with Trubisky early this season and the last 4 games of the regular season. Totally different quarterback, much cleaner mechanics, much better decisions, all because he had faith in what he was running. By adding Carson Wentz, the Colts got a young, middle-of-the-road quarterback. And that's not the easiest thing in the world to find. So they add that, they put him in their system that will bump up his efficiency and that will make him seem like a pretty good quarterback. But the problem is that there's a lot of those guys. Right now in the NFL, there are 5 elite quarterbacks. There are 5 guys on the next tier, and then there's a tier of roughly 10 to 12 quarterbacks who are on that middle of the road. We have 3 more of those middle of the road quarterbacks in this draft class. That gets us all the way down to 23. So how much are those middle of the road quarterbacks worth when you need to put them in the perfect system to maximize their talents, or they could be ruined like Carson Wentz looked like in 2020? The fact of the matter is these middle of the road quarterbacks, because Jared Goff is basically free to anybody who wants him. They aren't worth much. And when you pay Carson Wentz $25 million, his trade value at most is a third-round pick. That means the conditional pick that the Colts threw in was too much. The conditional pick itself could have been taken out of that trade if they wanted fair value. So they're overpaying in cap. They overtraded for Carson Wentz. But at least they have a quarterback who fits their system. So the Colts win and the Colts lose. The Eagles absolutely win this trade on value, even though quarterback and value seem like oxymoron words at this point in time. Carson Wentz at $25 million a year is ridiculously overpaid. Getting a first-round pick and a third-round pick for him on that contract is a ridiculous draft capital overpay. So the Eagles won that trade. But the Eagles could still come out losing in this, depending on what they do with their quarterback going forward. Because without a shadow of a doubt, Jalen Hurts is worse than Carson Wentz. Without a shadow of a doubt. And Sirianni and staff and Roseman, if they continue down this road with Jalen Hurts, will lose their job. When we originally started this topic, when Jalen Hurts got his starting job, we didn't see any of them as the answer. Not Peterson, not Roseman, not Hurts, and not Wentz. Sirianni could be. Sirianni's staff is a quality young staff. They need a quarterback. Or Roseman, Hurts, you're next. So while the Eagles won this trade on value, they most certainly did not get better. And this could cost their coaches and their general manager their job if they don't do anything about that. As the Eagles ran off the rails this season, it was clear that a lot of turnover had to happen for this to get right back on the tracks. So far, so good. Peterson's gone. Sirianni and company is in. Carson Wentz was traded for a good package of picks. There's still work to do. And we'll continue to be fascinated by Philadelphia to see if they can dig themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in. Love you guys. We need you. Stay strong, and I'll see you on the other side.